Beep.
Beep.
Oh, you're frozen.
Fuck.
Welcome back to the Lousy Show as Sam fixes his camera, where y'all can't see it, but as always, I can.
My camera that you can't see is fixed.
Yes. Yes, indeed.
Yep.
Ugh. You know what I need?
My
I need a
dick
computer chair.
What?
Hey, yo. No,
Huh?
I need a new computer chair.
Do you?
I do.
You're not liking the secret lab anymore?
No, it's not. No, I need a new secret lab. So the problem is this chair is very red, and cameras don't like a lot of red, because it makes everything red, including me.
But you're already a red individual. So.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's very difficult to like have this in any camera angle without some sort of cover. And the only cover I have on this, as you all heard in the last episode of the podcast, I quit streaming. The only one I have is my streaming jersey. So yeah. So I'm like, I need a new chair.
Yeah. I'm sure you could probably get like a slip cover or something like that over it.
I think so. I don't know if they sell those. I feel like they do. I feel like they would, but also I have a Titan XL. I know for the Titans they do, but I have a Titan XL because you boys got a big butt.
I'm sure it's not even like maybe first party. I'm sure there's like a third party option of like a kind of like a slip cover for a couch, you know, like it's something that's like stretchy. You know, I don't know.
That's fair.
I'm sure there's something.
Yeah, I'll have to look into it, but I definitely
these chairs ain't cheap at all.
Do you have a do you have a?
I have a Noble chair. Mine was about the same as yours as far as price. Yeah,
that's the same one.
Back when I got this, Secret Lab didn't have the XL, so they, at least to my knowledge, or this was cheaper at the time because yours was what, like $400 or $500, right?
This one's closer to $700.
Oh, damn! Never mind. This one was cheaper. That might be why I got it.
Because the XL, actually, let me look it up real quick. Because the XL goes way up in well, not way up, but like, it goes up in price from Secret Labs. It goes up in price from the original Titan, but I don't remember exactly. Secret Labs gaming chairs. Yep. That's what I want. And
yeah, while he's looking that up, I always kind of cover it, but yeah, mine's a Noble chair.
Yeah, and also mine, like, so if I don't know if I've actually said this aloud to our audience, I don't know if the Lousy listeners actually know, but I'm a massive Flash fan, as in the Flash.
Yeah,
and
you like flashing people,
yeah, right? If you ever see me in a trench coat, run. No, anyways, never mind.
Or he's got drugs, one of the two. Run to him.
Hey. But no, this one goes, let's see, I got that one. I got the soft weave. Did I get the soft weave? No, I got the hybrid leatherette. Special edition Flash. I got those. Yeah, so it's $674 before tax. Yeah. So I mean, but like that's the thing. It's a great chair.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a bad chair. It's just for what we do. I didn't even think about it when buying it because I immediately was like, oh, the Flash, yeah, oh. Yeah. And I didn't even once process of like, oh yeah, that's not gonna go well with cameras. Like even when I was streaming, if I had no cover on this, like I had a lot of red light behind me, but the way I had my lighting in front, which I mean, like Sam knows this because he's seen my setup and he knows I'm a big tech guru when it comes to this kind of stuff. But the way I had my lighting was I had two lights, one beaming off the wall, one direct, to offer a little bit of shadow here and more light coming on to make me more pronounced to the camera. But the problem is when you do that, you also factor in that there's something right behind you that's going to reflect that light, and it caused like this red rush of color to kind of overcome me. So I had to like change the lights in my office. I had to like add more light. It was so dumb, but that's why I have this on it, which I mean, the jersey's cool. Like I love the jersey. Stack Up is a great charity, and
yeah,
I love doing charity events. I loved working with Stack Up, but I would love to take the shirt off the chair at some point.
Yeah. Or I mean, you can just always flip it around too.
True.
So it just shows the Stack Up logo.
So. That's fair. Who knows? Maybe one day we'll work with Stack Up. I don't know. I think they're mainly a streaming organization. But.
Probably. Yeah. But I mean, they're an awesome organization. So if you haven't checked them out already, definitely do so. Cause like they do a lot of good.
Yeah. If anybody out there is familiar with the streaming services, like Twitch and Kick, hell, even YouTube, go check out to see if you can find any streamers who work with Stack Up, because it is a great organization to work with. I mean, a great organization to help, like, especially if you're pro military, like helping out the vets. Oh my God, dude, it's awesome. So.
Yep.
But as always, that's never what we're talking about.
Nope.
I'm actually checking my email real quick because I might have gotten a response on this.
I was gonna say, is this a great time to do that?
Well, this has something to do with our show, but I'm waiting. Okay, I have not received a response yet. So Sam kind of knows about this. I'm doing something as like a gift surprise for him, but also you all. So we're gonna see how well that works out in our favor. But yeah. I haven't received an email yet back. Back yet. So hopefully soon. I want to get confirmation before I go like, "Hey Sam, I did something."
That's usually how those conversations go. It's like, "Hey, guess what I did?"
And I'll give myself the benefit of the doubt. 70% of the time it's good. Yeah. 70. A strong.
I'll give you like 51.
Just above average. Got it. Okay, cool.
I was gonna say like over our lifetime.
Oh, you're factoring 20 years. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Just making sure I know where we're at.
If you're factoring like the last year, yeah, it's all been positive-ish for the most part. So
that's, hey, look, you live life at a quarter mile at a time, baby. You know what I'm saying? The Vin Diesel. Yeah.
Family.
No, today's topic is kind of like a spitball topic.
Yep.
Because I did just make a big purchase. I'm back in the truck,
brother.
Life. Yeah, I decided to go purchase a 2016 GMC Sierra Denali. Why? I don't fucking know. No, I know why. My wife wanted a new car, and I did not want to pay new car prices, even though by technicality I am, because the vehicle that I bought, trucks are very high price right now, which means as long as I don't put a fuckload of miles on that thing, it'll be pretty equitable if I decide to trade it in later. But I went and bought that, and I was going to more so talk about my experience and hear yours as well when you bought yours.
Yeah.
Because I know you kind of went through a longer process with finding one, though.
Yeah, I slow played it because I knew what I wanted, but I also didn't want to pay the prices. Because, I mean, this was October of last year when I bought the current truck that I'm driving, so it's they were kind of at the height of their craziness.
Yeah.
Then, which I didn't expect to find one that I could get down with, but I'll talk about that in a little bit. Let's start off with your recent purchase experience and give us the juicy deets on that. Well,
and I hope this that's not a problem. I hope this helps if anybody's out there looking for a new vehicle. My process was actually pretty quick, I would say. So like it wasn't until recently my wife finally, because my wife's always been the kind of person who doesn't want a new vehicle. Like she doesn't have that need for a new vehicle.
Yeah.
As long as it's a car and drives and it's safe for our boys, she's fine. But it wasn't until recently she was like, I think it kind of started with a joke. Somebody was like, hey, he's driving around in a new Mini. When are you going to get you a new car? And she was like, I don't know. When am I? You know, kind of like joking. And then that joke spawned into like me asking, do you really want a new car? And she was like, I mean, I wouldn't mind it. And I'm like, you know what? That's fair. Because in all fairness, she's been driving around in our 2016 Honda Accord. Great car, by the way. Great car. She's been driving around in that for oh God,
a hot minute for sure.
5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's been her car for 5 years. Now that I think about it, because when I bought it, she had the Cross Tour, and then I gave her that when I traded the Cross Tour in towards an SUV, and I bought the SUV back in like 2019. So it's been 5 years. Yeah. So that's been her car, like her car. That's it. Like I rarely ever touched it. The only time I ever really went in there was when I got a hanker to make sure the cars are clean. And I'm going to tell you right now, if you ever have your car as filthy as this woman had her car, and when I say filthy, I mean like she had shit stored in there that I found the lost city of Atlantis. Like it was crazy. And yeah.
Yeah,
dude, it was nuts. But no, so she made the joke, and then I was like, "Do you really want one?" And she goes, "Yeah, I could go for one." And she started to really like enjoy my car. She had never been a fan of Minis before, but she really loved the Countryman because it's a lot roomier.
Yeah.
And at one point, she was like, "Why don't like?" It was kind of like the joke of like, "Well, do you want my car?" And she was like, "I wouldn't mind it. Like, I wouldn't mind one like that." And so at one point, jokingly, I went to the Mini dealership before we moved up here. And I talked to Steve, shout out Steve, great dude, down at Austin Mini. And I was like, all right, I'm back. Wife wants a vehicle. And he was like, all right, what does she want this time? Because last time I had talked to him, I was like, what other vehicles of the Mini do you have? Because she didn't want one. And I told him, I was like, yep, she wants a Countryman. And he was like, excuse me? But we couldn't find one that we really wanted, right?
Yeah.
And then of course moved up here. The joke happens, and then she was like, I mean, I wouldn't mind your car. And so I was like, you know what? I've driven my car for a year. I've loved my car. Mini is still going to always be one of my favorite, if not my favorite make. So I just said, screw it. And I was like, all right, well, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take the Honda and I'm gonna find a deal for that. And I'm going to flip it and get me something else. And I'm going to give you the keys to my car. And she was like, okay, not a problem. And thus kind of began me looking for me to get a vehicle. And initially I wasn't even thinking about a truck. Initially I was actually thinking about an SUV.
Yeah.
Which I looked at like, I think I sent you at one point, like I was looking at a Cadillac Escalade at one point. It was an older one, but it was like lower miles for the year, I should say.
For how old it was. Yeah.
Yeah. I was looking at that. I was looking at a Tahoe. I was looking at an Expedition at one point, but I just kept like coming back to this mentality of like, okay, these vehicles aren't for me. These vehicles aren't giving me what I'm looking for. And I hopped on to, I think it was Auto Trader, and just kind of like getting a feel for the area because I hadn't really shopped for a car here. I found out that the big dealership here is Cable Dahmer, which is like their big, like, I guess you could say like monopoly dealer, so to speak, where they have like, I think it's like 6 or 7 different lots full of vehicles. And went on there, and I had a Ford F-150 before, as you know, the old Eco Beast with the, as our lovely friend Anderson said, the bedazzled grill.
Yep.
And fuck, he'd made that joke this past weekend too. Fucker. But no, so I was looking at, I immediately like found on their Chevy lot, I found a Silverado, and I was like, that looks nice. And this was random. This was on a Thursday. This is literally just a few days ago. And I just was like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's go look at it. My workday was done, and I just loaded up in the car and took off. And she cleaned the Honda out, I should say. And I finished like straightening it up a little bit and making it nice and pretty and neat for, the test drive. And I got there and I did a little bit of research first, which this is important. If you plan on buying a vehicle, make sure you do your research first on your vehicle that you're trading in. I looked up the KBB value for what the vehicle was at based on its current standing, which the Honda, I mean this through and through, very good condition. Not excellent, but very good condition. And I saw that the value, I believe, I don't remember the exact number, but I know it was like 85 to like 10.9 was what the trade-in value was. Well, it just so happens I looked at how much I owed on it and I only owed 69. So I was like, well, shit, I already got positive equity. Let's go. I went to the lot and I was very clear about this. I pulled up. I said, this is how much I want to pay a month. This is how much I'm paying a month. This is how much I want to pay a month. And this is how much I want for my car. And I specifically said for my car, I want 10 grand. Well, they rut-row.
Oh.
Bum.
Got moved. Yeah. Keep going.
Oh, I see. That's funny. Don't mind the Discord noises. But no, so I called ahead and said I want to test drive the Silverado. I get a phone call right before I'm leaving, and as I'm pulling out the driveway, and they're like, "Hey, we have a Denali sitting on this lot, a Sierra Denali sitting on this lot right now. Not sure if you're interested in GMC." And I was like, I have no reason to not be. Like, GMC is actually pretty sturdy vehicles. Like their trucks are pretty rock solid.
Chevys, basically.
I mean, yeah, basically, like,
yep. They are.
And so I was like, well, shit, I'll test drive it. Why not? Like, what would it hurt? So I go to the lot, get there, told them what I wanted, told them how much I wanted for my car, test drive the Denali. And I was like, all right, I need to test drive the Silverado. Cause I was sold on the Denali. Admittedly, I was like, if I'm going to buy a truck, this is it. But I needed to test drive the Silverado to make sure, to appease my anxiety of like, did I make the right choice? Right. So we went and found the Silverado, hunted it down. I test drove it back to their lot. And before I even got there, I was like, yeah, no, it's the Denali. Like I was sold. Like the sound system in the Silverado was good, but it was the base package. I mean, bare bones. And I was like, I'll fucking hate this by tomorrow. Like, no. Because admittedly, I was spoiled. Like if I could show you the inside of my Mini, it's like, I'm not a techie dude when it comes to the inside of my cars, but I was definitely spoiled.
Yep.
So I was like, fuck it. Yeah, no, the Denali is all in. And I asked, I said, how much is the Denali over the Silverado? And they said it's only 2,500 more. And I was like, okay, well, I can scratch that. That's not a problem. So we go to the table. I sit down. I tell them straight up. I was like, this is how much I want to pay. This is how much I want for my car. They come back. Now, mind you, I asked for 10 grand on my car. They come back with an offer of 7 on my car with 3 grand down in cash and a monthly payment of $900.
Oh.
And I went, first of all, that is triple what I pay for the Honda right now. So no. Second of all, I didn't say I was putting cash down because I know how much I have in equity on the car. I said, and so if you're going to bring me an offer, bring me a realistic offer. This goes back and forth. Mind you, we got to the car lot at 5:30.
Oh God.
We did not leave the car lot until just before midnight. That's how long negotiations took. But nothing good comes easy, nor does it come quick. And giggity. And I'll tell you right now, after round and round and round, I'm talking the salesman, which he was a great salesman. I'm not going to give him any free coverage. Sorry. But the salesman was very good. I'll give him that. He tried to pull every tactic in the book. He was trying to be my best friend. He was trying to be like the logical person. He even at one point was like, man, I thought you were cool, man. I thought we had this done. And I was like, yeah, we do have it done if you bring me the right numbers. And at one point he said something to me. He goes, man, you go take that Honda home and you go be laying in bed tonight going, damn, man, I could have had that truck.
Oh, he's doing emotional fucking manipulation.
Nah, here's what I said in return. I was like, nah, you know how I'm going to sleep tonight? He goes, how? And I was like, I'm going to roll over my side. I'm going to look in my wallet. And I'll be like, damn, she still looks fat, don't she? And he was just like, you doing me like that? I'm like, yeah, I'm doing you like that, bro. Like, that's where I'm at. And he came back at one point and he was like, you want this truck? Why don't you buy this truck? And I was like, no, you're missing the point. Do I want the truck? Yes. Do I need the truck? No. He was like, well, your wife wants a new car. And I was like, yeah, exactly. I said, do you know how easily I could swallow that humble pill and drive that Honda around until I find me a vehicle that works for my budget and let her drive the Mini to make her happy? I don't care. And I mean, and this is the thing, salespeople will pull every if they want to get that sale done, they will pull every tactic they can. So I remember the next to last offer he brought me, it was like 8.5 with some little bit of rebate on it and cash down. And I was like, I'll tell you what, if you come to me and tell me you're going to give me 10 grand for my car, I'll take a grand out of my savings account right now and put it on the table and we'll make this deal happen. I said, but if you don't give me what I want for my car, I'm leaving. End of story. You can go and give me my key and I'll bounce. Because they still had my key. Like, they still had my key up at the desk where the dude had gone to like test it out.
Yeah.
He goes, I step outside, and Fire was with me, and I'm talking to him, and I was just like, hey, look, I'll walk. I don't care. Like, this is where I'm at. And the dude comes outside, and it's dark out. It's late. We're all tired. And he goes, all right, it's my final offer. He goes, final offer, $520 before taxes, tax tag and title. Which that puts me like $550-ish, which is fine, you know. But he comes back, he says that, and he goes, that's what I'm offering. And I said, what do you give me for my car? And he goes, we're going to give you 13 grand for your car. But we need that 1,000 down to show the bank that you're being real. And I think he threw in like one of the rebates, which was fine. Like, the rebates weren't really absorbing anything, because rebates are good for absorbing negative equity. If you didn't know this, if you ever go to a car lot and they say they have rebates and you know you're rolling negative equity, tell them to use those rebates to kill the negative equity. It'll make the banks love you. But he goes, I just need to know one thing. And I was like, what? And he goes, I need to know your credit score is good enough. And I was like, oh, don't worry. I was like, I checked it before I came over here. It's fine. But I was like, I'm going to think this over. And he thought I was going to leave. I said, and when I saw his face droop, I was like, no. I'm going to stay down here for a second. I need you to go inside. I'm going to think this over. Well, good news for me, Sam, you know this. I budget everything. I mean, everything. So I already knew I could make that payment happen. The $900, I was not fucking paying that. Fuck that.
That's a ridiculous amount.
Yeah. But I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I can make it work. And I sat there for a second. And I was like, do I like this truck enough to make that work? And I went, yep, I can make it work. Am I paying more? Sure. But am I putting myself in a detriment monthly? Absolutely not. And so I was like, yeah, I can make this work. Sure. And so I walked back inside, and sure as shit, I walked up to him, shook his hand, and said, 13 grand for my car? He goes, yep. I said, and all the other stuff? Yep. I was like, here's what I want. He goes, what? And I was like, I want you to make sure I'm getting oil changes to that thing too. And he goes, okay. I was like, all right, I'll go get a grand. And sure enough, I transferred out and put the grand down, and I drove away with the truck that night. And that's the thing is, like, admittedly, Sam and I both worked together. We talked about this on the podcast before, but we both worked together in sales. Like, we know what sales tactics look like. We haven't done car sales, but sales is sales, no matter how you look at it. We've seen the sleaziest of sleazy. We've seen the best of the best. And if your head's right when you go into a buying situation, you can make that salesman work for you. Like, this is the truth of the matter.
Yeah.
But the cool thing is I was able to not only do that, but I was also able to afford getting a custom 5-year, 50,000 mile warranty that still kept me within my budget and well within my means. And it means my truck is completely covered front to back if anything happens. So if I say, for instance, God forbid, throw a fucking piston, guess what? They're going to bring me a loaner. They're going to bring a flatbed, pull my truck on it, take it, fix it, bring it back. End of story.
Yeah. How many miles did it have before you bought it?
So this has 89 and it's a 2016.
Okay. Yeah, that's not bad.
So and that's cool too, because my Honda was a 2016, but my Honda had 117,000 miles on it. So this truck was babied, and I looked at the Carfax. This truck was babied. I'm talking like 3 previous owners, and I think it was an average of the highest year I saw was 13,000 miles put on it. Other than that, it was 8 to 10,000 miles put on it a year, tops.
Yeah.
So like, the truck's in good working order. And I think the only gripe I have is it has the older CarPlay in it, which I've again become spoiled thanks to my Mini. But that was something you and I talked about actually earlier today. It was like me swapping out the main unit to put a custom unit in that's more modernized for me to have modern CarPlay in it. But that's being picky. Like I'm not like, and make no mistake, like some people are going to go and be picky. And that's perfectly fine. It's your vehicle. Like be as picky as you fucking want.
Yeah.
But I will say, there was something in this whole process, and I think this is something a lot of people need to understand. I've heard a lot of people complain, and I'm curious what your thoughts are on this before we jump into your story, because I'm actually really intrigued by your story with how long it took you to find it, because you were very detailed with it. And great, truly, that's what I appreciate about just how detailed you were with that. But one thing that really set out to me in this process of buying, I've never had the greatest credit. My credit's always been shit, but I've done a lot of work over the last couple of years to make it really, really good. And admittedly, buying a house actually fucking helped it greatly. But a lot of people complain about how the credit system fucks people over and like credit's so fucking stupid and this, that, and the third. I'm gonna tell you right now, in the world we live in, and I know I'm gonna sound like a fucking like a narc by saying this, but I'd rather make the system fucking work for me than bitch about the system. Reason I say that is I told the dude what my credit score was. No, not divulging that information to y'all. But I told the dude what my credit score was. And he looked at me and he was like that good? And I was like, yep. He comes back. You know how they give you the paper with the credit score on it that they pulled from both TransUnion and Equifax?
Yeah.
It was, and I shit you not, it was 25 points higher.
Damn.
Yeah. And he goes, you are one of the first people I've ever done a deal with. And he goes, and I've been working here for a year. You're one of the first people I've ever done a deal with who told me what their credit score was, and it was higher. And I went, cool. Does that help me more? And he was like, yes.
Definitely helps reduce that interest.
Yeah, no, it's massive on reducing interest. The bank ate me up. They were just like, come here, let me suckle our teat, you know, like. But no, it's that was a good feeling. So, especially in your buying journey, like if your credit's fucked, make it good and make the system work for you. Because once you make the system work for you, it's putting your hands. And
the system is definitely not designed to help anybody. But if you can figure out, and really the biggest part of it is swallowing your pride and living below your means, which is a hard pill for a lot of people to swallow. But yeah, if you can live below your means as opposed to at or above, then that will help increase that score greatly if you smartly do your things. But yeah,
I want to add a thought to that because I agree with you entirely. And that is one of the biggest things. Like being a frivolous spender is cool. Being a frivolous spender when you don't have shit to spend is not.
Yeah.
Like money is not a construct. Money is how the currency in which we pay for our daily living. Yes, shit's getting more expensive. Yes, it's fucking stupid. It's very difficult. Like the fact that we've seen a rise in price of milk and eggs like it has been over the last few years is fucking nuts. Thanks, COVID. Yep. But here's the thing. If you can spend a couple months to live well under your means, that means not eating out as much, not going out as much. You know, sure, you might need to buy, cheaper brand of food for a little bit. But if you live under those means and you use that extra money to pay shit where it should be, the astronomical gain past that is unfathomable, dude.
Yep.
I never once in my life thought I would be here. Like, and this is a genuine, this isn't a flex. This is a genuine, like, I'm very excited for myself. Sam remembers when I was living on his fucking couch with not a fucking dime to my name.
Yep.
And now I have a house and 2 cars in my name. Just me. No cosigner, just me.
Yep.
Like, when you factor how, and I'm not going to go into the financial measures of this, like that's a whole different episode. Like we're not ever, truth be told, like unless what's that fucker's name who does the financial shit?
Like Grant, fucking what's his name?
What's his name? You know the dude I'm talking about. The dude who's like pay your credit card off one at a time and then take the extra.
Oh, you're talking Dave Ramsey.
Dave Ramsey, thank you. Yeah. Unless we have Dave Ramsey on this fucking show, ain't happening. Sorry.
Yeah.
But here's the truth: is like when you start understanding finances on how credit cards work and how that percentage works and how that affects you and how medical debt affects you and how and like so many and how there's a difference between bad debt and good debt. When you start to actually figure that out, you've made the system work for you.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And it's all there for you to ingest on YouTube. Like you can literally learn it in probably like half a day's worth of work.
Actually, if I may, there's a dude I actually am subscribed to, and I would love, Sam, if you're okay with this, I would love to like give the people an opportunity to go listen to this.
Sure.
Not that we're gonna cover it. Let me go to my channel real quick because I'm on ours. But this dude, I mean, when it comes to understanding the credit system, this dude blew my fucking mind. Hang on.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching the video. Make sure to hit the subscribe button while you're here and join the Lousy listeners. And also, click the join button. For $2.99 a month, you can become a Lousy member where you can get some awesome perks, cool emotes, and interact with Sam and I. Also, click the link to join our Discord and have fun with all the other Lousy listeners. Let's get back to the video.
Yeah, here he is. Brian, it's either Young or Jung. I'm not sure how he pronounces it. I've always heard him call himself Brian.
And I'll link it.
Yeah.
Or I'll put a thing on the screen.
But it's Brianjung. The dude has so much knowledge when it comes to credit cards and like credit and debt and things like that. Watch his shit. And to Sam's point, completely free. Don't have to pay money to go to some fucking class. Like you could just search his shit on YouTube and it'll teach you everything you need to know.
Yeah.
But I'm going to echo your point one more time and the sentiment you have. Swallow that fucking humble pill because it is going to make your life so much easier.
Yeah. It's like a few years of strife for a lifetime of comfort.
Which,
if you find yourself in a situation of strife, at least. So it's
that's like prime example. This past weekend, or this weekend that we're recording right now, I just finished the garage.
Yeah.
I spent more money over budget than what I was supposed to. So guess what? The next time we get paid, your boy's not going to the movies. I'm not going to Casey Brick. I'm not going to Tabletop to go buy new dice. I'm not going to do all the shit that I normally do. I'm going to take that money. I'm going to make sure shit's paid off correctly. And then guess what? The next paycheck, we can go back to life.
Yep.
A month and I'm back at it. Like it's when you can bring that year or a few months down to just a few weeks, game changer.
Mm-hmm.
But enough about finance. I want to hear your story because I am intrigued by this. You were like digging heels in on this one, and I respect it.
Yeah, I am not an impulse buyer.
No,
at all. Joe, on the other hand, sometimes. No.
Used to be.
It used to be, at least. Yeah. Now he's definitely a bit smarter.
Thanks for the
you're welcome.
vote of confidence there.
Yeah. So right now I drive a 2020 Dodge Ram Limited.
Beautiful truck, by the way. Beautiful.
Love that truck. It's my favorite truck I've ever had, which is out of 2. So,
tough pickings.
Real big pickings. No, before that I had a 2015 F-150, and I love that truck too. Yeah, I love that truck. And I still love that truck. It was a great truck. That one was an eco beast like yours. It was decent on gas, not good. And my current one, definitely not good. But I am not commuting, so not really a big deal.
True.
But the big thing, I wasn't originally shopping for a new truck when I was kind of starting my journey, I was looking to refinance my F-150. Because when I had first got it, my credit was better. I had gone through a period where my credit got real bad. And I got it a lot better, but it wasn't where it needed to be. But I got that truck, and it was a slightly higher interest than I really wanted. But I was like, I'll pay on it for a year, refinance it, be good to go. I go to start the journey of refinancing it, and this was like during, like after the COVID, this is last year. So, this is like early 2023 when I first started. And trucks were still insane as far as pricing, but interest rates were ridiculous to where like my pretty poor interest rate was then considered a not that bad interest rate, which I was like, I don't know if I like that. And so I had gotten a couple quotes for refinancing it, and I was not happy with the numbers at all. And I was like, oh man, like what's going on here? And just for fun, I was looking around because I like looking at new vehicles, whether it's for me or for her, for my wife, or just to look at them. I don't mind just looking at them because I like cars. And when I was looking at the rates that were being advertised, I was like, well, my credit's a hell of a lot better now. Could I get that rate? And so at first I had put in a bid with at the time where I was getting the F-150 loan through, and they're like, yeah, we'll reduce it like half a point. And I was like, that's not good. That's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a pretty drastic reduction in interest. And they came back and they were like, well, that's the best we can do. I was like, all right, you won't see me again probably. So then started a 6-month journey of figuring out what exactly I wanted. I researched the hell out of vehicles specifically. I can talk the finances later. It's just, what do I want before I even get into it? And so I'm not the type of guy that'll go to dealerships just to test drive everything. I will narrow it down based off of like YouTube, based off of TikTok, based off of, word of mouth, basically. And I knew kind of what I wanted. I just like what you were saying, where you got used to like the creature comforts of the Mini.
Yeah,
I got used to what I had built in the F-150 because that one was a relatively stock F-150 that I had, customized to exactly my liking. And I was like, I'm not going back down just to have to rebuild it. I kind of just want one that just works right out the gate. So I was researching, F-150s at first because I really like the F-150, but like the newer generation of F-150s were extremely expensive. The used ones were extremely expensive, for the same spec as what I was looking for. And I was like, nope, not going to happen. So then I started looking at like Silverados, GMCs, Tundras, and Dodge. And I had already kind of ruled out Silverados and Tundras. One, because the Tundras at the time, the only ones that I liked were too new and too expensive. And then the Silverados were always just a little bit too plasticky for me. Like I said, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm a little bougie when it comes to my truck.
You must love the Avalanche then.
The Avalanche?
It's a sarcastic remark.
I was going to say, like, I'll punch you through the screen right now.
It's all plastic.
It's bad. But that's the same thing with the earlier Tundras.
Yeah.
The inside of them is all like plastic and crap, and I didn't like it. So I was like, nah, not so much for me. So I started doing some research and finally kind of settled on more than likely a Dodge Ram 1500 because I didn't need a 25 or a 35, of course. Like, I'm not hauling anything really.
Yeah.
But also my wife and I had talked about potentially getting like a travel trailer to pull behind it. So I wanted something like a little bit capable, but really any, quarter ton like that's going to be fine. Or sorry, half ton. And so I'm looking around and I really started liking the Dodge, the Ram 1500, specifically like 2020 and beyond. But Beyond was expensive. All the brand new ones were 70, 80, 90, 100. And I'm like, I'm not paying that. So I started looking for used, but even those are like 50, 60, 70 for like a 2020. I'm like, God dang, I can't really swing that. So I personally use Car Gurus. God, if they ever want to sponsor us, I will 100% be down. Because they kind of take all of them, Auto Trader, Car Guru, like everything, and put it in there. And so I just basically set some alerts for the specific make and model, color, and everything that I'm looking for.
Yeah.
And I'd get notifications. And there was one that I had eyed pretty early on. This was probably like April or so. And I bought the truck in October. No, maybe it was a little bit later than that. It was like July. Yeah, it was July. Because it had gone onto this lot actually at Austin Subaru. And it was a little higher price, but it was a little bit lower than everything else. And I could see there was a couple things with it, but nothing major. It was just like a couple dings. Interior wasn't immaculate, but just a couple things. Ended up sitting on that lot for 4 months. 4 months, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, 4 months. It was sitting on the lot at Austin Subaru. And so by the time it got to that point, and all the other ones that I had seen that were kind of, a little bit leaning towards my fancy, I was like, man, that one's just down the road a little bit. Because all the other ones were like Killeen, Dallas. I'm not driving that far. And so I think it was like month 3. I'm like, all right, let me start doing some digging on my truck. And I bought my F-150 right before COVID hit. And so
nice.
The value, my equity that I had on it was at least 12 grand. So I was like, I've got some room to play here. And so I did, KVB, I did, CarMax trade-in value. I did all like the estimates and kind of averaged them all out to get that 12 grand number. And so armed with my new awesome credit score. Excuse me 1 second.
It's the most you talked besides an Am I the Asshole segment.
Yeah. I was like, all right, let me go test drive this thing. And I was like, and if the numbers work out, I'm driving home with this thing.
Yeah.
And so I get there, and the salesman was awesome. I can't remember his name, to be honest with you, so I'm not going to try to give a shout out, but he was cool. I go there, and I had set like an appointment online to just go test drive it.
Yeah.
And I get there and I check in, and they're like, yeah, the guy that's going to help you, he's currently helping somebody else. He'll be with you in a little bit. I'm like, all right, cool. If I can just like snag the key, I promise I'm not going to drive off with it. I just want to look at it. And they're like, yep, no problem. And so I just, go inside, look at it, and all the things that I knew weren't ideal, which basically it's just like the dash on it is wavy because like it's a Texas truck, so like all the heat made all the glue kind of come undone, and so like the leather on the dash is a little wavy. Yeah. Honestly, still doesn't really bother me, which is a little surprising for my OCDS, but I looked at it, saw a couple dings, mileage is where I wanted it, and so finally the guy gets to me. And I was like, yeah, I want to take this out for a spin, see how it's doing. He's like, all right, cool. You looking to trade in? Do him all the normal questions. And again, we need to change that.
Yes.
Let's see. So we go on a test drive. Drive's great. It's awesome. I fall in love with it. And I'm like, all right, let's talk some numbers here. And so then he gives the keys to my truck to go do the trade-in. And initially they had offered me on the trade-in on that. It was still like 10 grand, but I was like, yeah, that's not the number I'm looking for. And so they initially had the price for the truck a little bit higher, but I just basically went to them. I was like, look, you've had this on the lot for 4 months. Haven't had any movement. And they're like, yeah. Like, all right. My truck on KBB is at least 12, at the very least, as far as positive equity towards this. I was like, so if we can get this trade in, because initially, because it was like 10 grand or so. If we can get this trade in and then the price on that truck down a little bit to where I want it, then we'll walk away from it. And so like initially they came back at me with one number. I can't remember what it was, but it was a bit too high. I think they initially were offering like 800 or 700 or something like that. And I'm like, no. And so they finally come back and they're like, all right, we'll get you what you want. And I was like, all right, thanks. And so
cool.
No money down at all. Basically just walked out. They gave me, they did a full detail and an oil change on it right before it went. I didn't get the warranty stuff on it. Cause that, like, they offered it to me, but it was going to be like an extra $100 a month. And I was like, nope, I'm good.
Yeah.
Cause mine was a bit newer. Mine's a 2020. So like, I'm not that worried about it. And I also didn't get, Dodge Rams also have that. So there's the Hemi, of course, but then there's a Hemi with an electric motor. And the electric motor apparently is like god awful, and it breaks down a lot. And mine does not have that, so I didn't get that. And so I'm pretty confident in that. I should knock on some wood, but but no. So it's basically the same payment I had before for a much newer truck for all the fancy gizmos and gadgets. So.
And that's one thing I will say too, to your point, and to like what I have too, is, and this is a tough pill for a lot of people to swallow. Just because the car is your baby doesn't mean it has value.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna be real with you. With the Mini Countryman, here's the thing about minis. If I take care of that car and keep it low miles, I'll have positive equity within the next 2 years. Guaranteed.
Yep.
With my truck, especially with me working from home, if I keep that truck lower on the lower end miles, I will keep a positive equity on it for a long time. But with the Honda, the reason I had positive equity on that was because I made sure to make payments and pay above to get that amount down.
Yeah.
And recognizing that the vehicle may be good, the vehicle may have taken care of us, but it does not mean that when I take it to the lot, that vehicle is going to be worth thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. I just happen to get lucky on the fact that one, the vehicle is really sound, but two, I went to a lot who was willing to hear me out and understand I knew what I was talking about, because a lot of car lots would be like, nope. You know, they've got to make money too. They've got to make money too, which I respect that. But I know how much my vehicle is worth, like how much I owed compared to how much I could get for it, and that positive equity there. I knew how much I could get out of it. So there was no point in me going, "Oh, you're going to offer me 7? That's 200 over what I get. You know, what I currently owe on it." Sure, like no, stand your ground. If you know for a fact that your vehicle is worth that much, sure, stand your ground. But don't be heartbroken and don't be, hurt if they come to you and say, hey, look, this is what the KBB value is. This is how much you owe. And this is how much room you have. Because the truth is, a lot of people think they have they're riding around on a gold rock. And in reality, they're riding around on coal. Like, yeah, it's truth. And I've had to live that truth myself on a few vehicles. Like, before I bought my Mini, actually, right before we started the Lousy show, I bought the Mini.
Yep. And
before that, I had a 2012 Ford F-150. Sam can tell y'all, I wanted a truck for the longest kind of time. I was truck, because at the time, I was riding around, if I'm not mistaken, in a Nissan Rogue. And I'm going to tell you right now, I fucking hate Nissan Rogues. Like, that vehicle can fucking kick rocks. But I bought it initially for my wife. And then my wife was like, well, I like the Honda. And I was like, fuck, I gotta drive this motherfucker. So I ended up in a fucking soccer mom car. But when I bought the truck, I had been researching trucks for so long.
Yeah.
But I got mine after COVID. So the value on it was higher. I got lucky because I found one on a private sale. The person listed it on Marketplace. And I talked about me being a marketplace slut and a marketplace guru, and I am. I found it on Marketplace after researching night after night after night after night for weeks. I found this truck and I contacted them. The mileage was good. The year was good. The body was sound. Went and test drove it. Everything was great. Bought it. I traded my Rogue into the CarMax, got a little bit of money back on it, and went to a credit union because I just said, fuck it. I'm going to go the easiest path for this because at the time my credit wasn't the greatest. Went to a credit union. They hooked me up. But this is where I'm going to make you fucking vomit, Sam.
Uh-oh.
Do you want to know what my interest rate was on that truck?
I'm sure on my Honda that I had before my truck, it might not be as bad, but we'll see.
What was yours on your Honda, Sam?
My credit was at its lowest there. And I think it was 13.
17.95.
Oh.
That's how bad I wanted the truck.
God damn.
I ate that. And I ate those payments every month too.
See what and even like on the F-150, I think it was like a 9, and I didn't like that. Because I mean, that's high. But.
That's the tough part on vehicles right now. Because of COVID and how the vehicle thing happened, banks are like, if it's I think it's like older than 3 years, maybe 4 years. If it's older than that, they automatically hit it with an 8% interest starting.
Yeah.
Like there's no guarantee. Now, granted, for me, I got lucky and I'm right at that 8 on this truck, which I'm fine with. I can eat that. I don't care. It's not going to hurt me. Why? Because my interest rate was higher on the Honda with a cosigner. So I bought this by myself at the base. That's fine. I'm not going to cry about, that kind of spilled milk. But dude, like, again, this goes back to the financial shit we were talking about just a few minutes ago. Like, understanding your interest rates, understanding how you can finesse it, and understanding like what to do to get them. Oh my God, there's so many levels. Like the amount of research you and I both did on our own, of course, and in our own perspective situations where you have to know every finite detail going into these things in order to make sure you know what you're talking about. If you go into a situation talking to a salesperson and you start spitballing shit and you don't hit the fucking bullseye, they're going to know very quickly that you don't know shit about what you're talking about, and they're going to decimate you.
Yep.
But the funny shit, and I'll say this before we get here because I know we've been talking for a hot minute. The funniest shit about this was when we closed on the deal, right? I walked back in, said, let's make it happen. I sat at his desk. He comes back with paperwork, starts giving me a sign. The tax documents, the Carfax, explaining what all comes like or what all they did to the truck, so on and so forth, like everything, right? And I'm signing all this, and he made a comment. He goes, man, I tell you, you were he's like, you were one tough deal to make. And he goes, and this is the first of the month. I hope the rest of the month don't go like this. I turn and I look at Fire, and I said, and as I'm signing my name, I said, yep, that's what a few years of sales will get you. And I watched this dude go, typing on his computer, he goes, and it clicked, and I was like, hey, look, man, I just know what to do. Like, I knew what he was throwing at me, but a lot of people don't. Like your point when you were saying like he's emotionally manipulating you. Yeah, how many times have we seen people do that in sales? Plenty.
Yep.
I know one person we joke about all the time. We saw that motherfucker do it all the time. Like, just know your stuff before you go into these situations and understand, like, you can get you a really good vehicle. You can get you your vehicle that you want, but you got to make the numbers work.
Yeah.
So
what also helped mine too is, I'm pretty sure the guy that I was talking to for my most recent truck, I don't think he thought I was trying to make a deal that day. Because I was just like, I'm just looking to test drive this truck, and he's like, all right, cool, blah blah blah, and then we test drove it. I'm crunching some numbers, and he gives me like the initial things, and then when I come back with a counter, he's like, oh, you're serious? All right, cool. So sometimes you can catch him off guard like that, but it's funny. Salespeople are either the easiest or the hardest sale you can ever make. as a salesperson.
Valid.
There's nothing in between. It's either going to be the easiest one or the hardest one you've ever made. So.
My favorite, especially with the salespeople I've worked with before, not me working coworker, but me working with them on a sale. My favorite is when they think they can outsell you, and I'm like, that ain't this kind of game, brother. Like, you ain't got to do that. You could have made this easy. Now what you've done is you've made me go, I don't like you. I'm not buying from you anymore. Like, I'll tell you this, and I know it's shitty. I will change a salesperson like that.
Yep. Well, for mine, it wasn't the sales guy, it was the finance guy. And actually finance girl, I should say. Her name was Samantha. I do remember her name because Sam.
Yeah.
And so she was the one that was trying to sell me on like warranty, the ceramic coat, the interior detail, the windshield protection, the blah, 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 blah. And I just at the very, like, she started offering, I was like, I'm going to stop you right there. I'm not interested in any of it. I understand if you have to go through these with me, that's totally fine. I've been in sales for a long ass time. You can do your thing. I got nothing to do today, but I'm not signing up for any of these. And she was like, all right, well, I'm going to go through these. And I was like, all right, you do you. And she did. She went through all of them. And I was just respectfully declined every single one of them. She's like, damn. She was like, well, it was at least easy to do the signature part. And I was like, hey, it's a nice short name, Sam. So
yeah, just nope. Okay. Dude, yeah, no, I like, I'm glad I got out of sales, but I'm thankful that the experience I had can help me in situations like this. Cause
it's a good skill set to have for sure.
Yeah.
But
dude.
Yeah.
Fire even said before we left, he was like, when I go to buy a car, when I go to buy a car, I'm taking you with me. I was like, yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
But no, I'm glad I'm back in a truck. Honestly, I've kind of missed it. Like, I love my Mini, and I can drive the Mini whatever the hell I want. It's not like I don't have it anymore. But having a truck has been a bit of a revelation, as well as a, what's the word I want to use here? Reprieve, I guess. I just wish I'd bought one sooner because all the work I've done on this house has required a truck and trying to fit shit from IKEA into a Mini, not easy.
That reminds me, when my wife and I first moved in together, she at the time was driving a BMW 320i, teeny tiny little sedan.
Yeah.
And she would fit some big ass shit from IKEA in that car. And I was always so impressed. And so finally when we got the truck, it's made things a lot easier. And also just, we're both big individuals.
Yeah.
Being able to sit comfortably in a big ass truck, much better than a car.
Yeah, that is one thing I would say with having a truck. Like, I took my oldest in a ride, like, I think it was the next day. That was funny as shit. I'll say this before we jet. The next morning when I woke up, I took the truck home with me because I had to go finish paperwork on it the next day. But when I brought it home with me the next morning, I get up for work and I come to the steps and my son's already awake and he's like, Daddy. And I was like, hey, what's up? He goes, come here. And he takes me to the front door. He goes, is that yours? And just points at the truck and I was like, yeah, it is. He goes, can I ride in it? And I was like, heck yeah, dude.
Your son does love trucks.
He loves trucks. And when we went for a ride, we actually took my wife lunch later that day. And I took him with me. I get him in his booster seat and he's chilling. And as we're going down the highway, he was like, Daddy, can I have my window down? I was like, yeah, of course. Put his window down. And for a few minutes, he was silent. Like, I'm like, this kid's usually talkative. And I turn and look, and this kid, arm out the window, laid back on the seat, just like, and it just nothing stopping his flow. I was like, you know what? That right there alone made it worth it. So
hell yeah.
Go get you a vehicle that you want.
Go get you a truck.
Yeah, again, I'll give it one more shout out because that channel helped me out greatly. Brian Young or Brian Jung, however you pronounce his last name. Unfortunately, I don't know how to pronounce it. I do apologize. Future Sam will probably throw a little blah, 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 at the bottom of the screen. Check him out. If nothing else, we'll put it down in the description as well. Future Sam, please remind me of that to put that in the description for the lousy listeners. But yeah, any closing remarks before we get out of here?
Buy a
Truck, yeah. We will catch y'all on the next one. Make sure to subscribe, like the video, and yeah, have a great Tuesday.
Bye.